So I used to think that in order to save a lot of money, you needed to also make a lot of money. But what I've learned is that everyone has been given the opportunity to actually make money. Some people make a lot of money, some folks don't make that much money, but everyone makes good money as long as they actually work overall. Now, I noticed that it's not about how much money you actually make, it's more about how much money you actually keep. I've seen a good amount of things in these years I have alive. I've seen people go from being broke to having a lot of money, don't know how to manage it, spend every dollar, don't have anything today. They go broke. I've seen people go from not making that much money to making a good amount of money, and what they do with the money is not save it, they actually build for themselves a pretty cage. What do I mean by that? They get themselves into a crazy mortgage. They get themselves into a crazy car payment. Their whole lifestyle is just so much money to the point where there is no room to save. There is just room to basically try to sustain a lifestyle that they can't afford. It's super dangerous. But now, I've also seen people very close to me that without having a crazy large salary, I would consider it to be actually be a very low one, they were able to actually get a paid off home, a paid off car, and to actually build some substantial wealth just by saving money and doing things slowly over time and making the right investments. So in this video, I'll give you guys some good ideas, some great ideas in my opinion, when it comes to actually saving money faster, okay? But remember, okay, these ideas are meant to help you, not meant to actually grab you and lock you up and put you under stress. No, you grab them, you customize it, you use it, you experiment, and you find what works best for you. I don't recommend you do all 5 because the whole goal is not to have a lot of green. The whole goal is to actually be more responsible when it comes to your money and to have a good quality of life. Now, if you guys don't know me, my name is TommyBryson. Welcome back to the channel. Do me a favor and smash the like button. Now, the very first idea that I actually have is going to be what they call no spend month. Now, how does this work, guys? Okay, everyone has what I call mandatory expenses or a bare bone budget. It's basically the things you can't really negotiate on because you need to spend money on these things. And they're usually going to be about 4. You have shelter, you have utilities, you have groceries, and lastly, you have transportation. The idea is you only spend money on these essentials and then everything else you actually cut out, like eating out, like going on vacation, like shopping on Amazon, or like paying for things you actually don't need. Now, I know you have questions about, Tommy, what if I have cable or if I have a phone bill? Well, do I cut those things out? The answer is I'll tell you more about that later. But first, here's why I hate the idea of having a no spend month if you use it this way, because it's almost like a crash diet. You decide I have a goal in mind and you go on this extreme diet, and once you reach your goal, then you go right back to your old habits, and then before you know it, a few months later, you're right back to your mediocre lifestyle and your normal weight, and you don't want that. So what I recommend you actually use this for is to actually prove to yourself that it's actually possible to cut things you don't need and to actually be able to save more money. Now, there are 3 ways to actually believe something is possible. Number 1 is Tommy's doing it, so I think I can do it. Whatever man can do, I can do. I think that's pretty cool, okay? Basically saying, if that person did it, why can't I? Okay, solid. Number 2 is I have faith it's possible. Although I don't know many people that actually did it, I know it's possible. I have faith, I believe, okay? And then you go ahead and you try it out and you actually do it, all right? Number 3 is I don't believe it's possible. I don't care that someone else did it. I don't care about having faith in this, okay? The only way I'm going to believe if I'm actually able to do it myself. And I think that this is actually a very good starting point to actually just do it for a month to prove to yourself it's possible to cut certain things out, and you will see that you will not actually miss it. Now, in my honest opinion, I think that last way is the worst way to actually learn, okay? I think rewarded are those that actually believe something is possible without having to go through the mud themselves, because sometimes you make a lot of mistakes just by saying, I gotta do this myself to see if it's actually done correctly or if it actually applies to me or whatever. It's a very bad mindset. But overall, if you have to go through it, I think is actually pretty solid, so you can actually learn. But the best way I figured out how to learn is basically to be able to read other people's mistakes and say, hey, I'm not going to make those. I'm not going to think I'm too special to not commit those exact mistakes. I'm going to go ahead and avoid that path and go a different path that's actually better, because I have evidence that, hey, this is not the right path. But some people say, I see this person made a mistake, but I'm still going to try for myself because for me it might be different. It's a bad mindset, okay? It's a bad mindset. Now, the second way to actually save a lot of money fast is going to be via side hustles. Now, statistics show that, guys, basically the average person in America right now is making about $74,738. Now, if you look at the medium, it's close to like around $52,000. But if you just look at anecdotal evidence, like for me, I don't know many people that make like $70,000 a year. That's a lot of money. Most people I know, they make around $2,000 to $4,000 after taxes, okay? Now, I'm basically telling you this because no matter how much money you make, usually if you build for yourself a bad lifestyle, you're always going to need more money. So side hustles are going to be a great way to use your extra time to actually just make some extra money for a certain amount of time. And I recommend no more than a year to 2 years. I'll tell you more about that later. But the idea is, let's say you're going to dedicate an extra 2 to 3 hours every single day after work to actually making some extra money. You know, that might be between 12 hours all the way up to 18 hours or so. If you're able to make 15 bucks an hour, well, you might be looking at making an extra between $720 per month to an extra $1,080 per month. Now tell me, why do you say not to do this for more than a year or 2 years, okay? Here's why. It's going to cost you and tax you on the body. To be able to work that much, it's not healthy, okay? It's probably going to overwork you. And if you have kids, you have a wife, you have a family, guess what? Spending all your time working is not going to be the best use of your time. You should be spending time with your family. That's the best use of your time. Now, as a Christian also, I also wouldn't work on Sundays because I want to dedicate that day to the Lord and also to my family. I don't like the idea of working 24/7 just so I can make it to a goal that's basically, it's good, but it's not the most important thing ever. Just so I can make it to a goal like a year or 2 years earlier, while I'm sacrificing my family, my kids, or my wife, which I don't have kids or a wife yet. But when that actually comes, God willing, I'm not going to sacrifice my family or my kids just to make a few extra dollars faster to get debt free or to save more money. I'd rather just go a little slower and do both at the same time, if that makes sense, okay? Now, the third way, by the way, what could you do with side hustles? Things like, for example, delivering pizzas. That's one. Working somewhere where, like, even for example, being like a server, you know, those people, or a waiter, those people make a lot of money on tips. There are a lot of ideas out there. Just look up side hustles. You can actually do it for an extra 2-3 hours from Monday to Friday or from Monday to Saturday, okay? Only do it for a short amount of time. It's going to tax you, okay? And life is not just about working. That's a very bad mindset. Now, number 3, guys, is going to be what I call sell-off. Sell-off is a great way to save a lot of money, but in my opinion, it's one of the most embarrassing ways to actually save money. Because selling things off is not just about selling the things you don't use anymore or things you don't need anymore, but it's also about selling things you can't afford. Because finally you realize, I can't afford this. And it's embarrassing when you go to work in a car and then you come to work the next day with a beater car, maybe a Toyota Corolla from the 1970s or whatever. People are asking you, where's your car? I sold it. Why? Can't afford it, all right? That's embarrassing. But guess what? I'd rather be embarrassed. I'd rather go through a little sour time than to be basically ruined financially and ruin my family's financial life just because I care about what other people think about me. Those things don't matter, all right? So what are certain things that I would recommend that are actually embarrassing? Here are some examples. Some are real, some are made up, just so I can actually deliver this example to you guys. One, I have a friend. He just bought an iPhone. It cost him $700. The guy is in debt, has a bunch of problems. Can he go ahead and afford a $700 iPhone? The answer is no. So what do I recommend? Sell the iPhone and buy for yourself a $200 iPhone or a $200 Android. I don't like Android. I don't care what you like. It's what you're able to actually afford at the moment. That's the idea. Now, number two, I have a friend, okay? Him and his wife actually bought a new house, 2-family home, over $700,000. Between them, his wife and him, they make about $8,000 a month. And they actually got a 30-year mortgage, put down 3.5%. You're probably thinking, well, that sounds like a great deal. They rent a part out. They're able to live in one. It helps cover the bills or whatever. I think is a trash idea. It's a terrible idea because they've increased their incomes, but they basically also built for them a pretty cage because now they're trapped for the next 30 years. Now, if you actually bought a home the right way, you bought a home that's no more than a third of your monthly net income on a 15-year mortgage, the idea would be this, okay? If you use that math for the property that you just bought, if you even put that property on a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage, it would eat up almost like 70% of their income, meaning they can't afford it. So what do I recommend? Sell it. It's that simple. Sell the property and buy one you're able to afford to pay it off in less than 15 years. Put down at least a 10% down payment where it's no more than a third of your monthly income. So this way, if your wife loses her job or she wants to stay home with their kids, then she's able to do that and you guys are not stressed out that much. That's the idea. Tommy, another example. I have a friend. He bought a car. Very expensive vehicle. Can't afford it. The payments are too crazy. The answer is sell the car. It's not worth it. Get yourself a beater car to take you from point A to point B. Cars are about driving and safety and being comfortable. But guess what? You can be comfortable in a 2009 or a 2002 vehicle. All right? Those things exist. And there are reliable vehicles from 2009 like Ramit Sethi. He's a millionaire and he drives a 2005 or 2009 Honda Accord, if I'm not mistaken. And that guy is super rich and look at what he drives. But a lot of poor folks, they want to be driving, I need a $50,000 minivan or a $40,000 SUV because this and that. No, you don't. No, you don't. Now, the fourth way to actually save a lot of money is going to be to pay things off faster. And this actually sounds like backwards because how do I save money by paying something off? The answer is, it's very simple. The minute something is paid off, it no longer requires any more payments. That means all that extra cash you actually get to keep in your pocket. Now, I recommend you buy everything in cash except a house because guess what? Most people can't afford to pay cash for a house. For everyone that just heard that statement and said, this guy's crazy. How do I buy a car in cash? There are cars that cost $2,000, $3,000. But how do I know I'm not going to take it every single day to the mechanic? You buy a reliable car, Toyota, Honda, or Mazda. Those cars are very reliable. But Tommy, I want a car that I know. Guess what? Guess what? If you buy a car for $5,000 in cash, there is no way you're going to go to the mechanic and spend $35,000 on it. Because the car you probably want costs $40,000. And that's just not possible, okay? So that's the idea. Is excuses and ways to justify yourself. And I'm not here to make you feel good about yourself, but I am here to tell you things in a loving, nice way. If you buy a car you can't afford, you're going to be stuck with those $700 car payments and it's not going to be good. Because at the end of the year or at the end of the loan in 5 years or 7 years, because they're doing that now, you're going to have an asset that is now worth 50 to 70% less. It's not worth it, okay? It's not. And cars are built to run for 200, 250K miles to 300K miles, depending on the car you actually buy. So you can buy a car with 100K miles that is still going to run for another 150K. Don't be afraid of mechanics, okay? everything breaks. Just take it to a good mechanic, you do some good quality fixes, and that car will keep running. And it's not going to cost you more than $35,000 in repairs. Probably not more than $10,000, probably not more than $5,000. So that is the idea behind what I'm telling you. So what are you supposed to pay off faster? Well, in this example, it's going to be your house, because it's probably going to be the only thing you're actually supposed to buy with credit, right? So for example, let's say I went ahead and I bought a house for $350,000. Now, this home, I got it on a 15-year mortgage. I put down 20% as a down payment, and it's costing me every single month about $2,510 as the payment. And that's no more than 33% of my monthly income. I bought the house the right way. That is awesome. And now that means I have an extra 10% of my income that is free, and I'm going to use that income to try to pay off this home faster. Now, how much is that, okay? Well, let's say I'm going to be paying an extra $760 every single month towards my home payment. Tommy, that's so much money. The answer is there are people that have a crazy mortgage they can't afford, and they also have crazy car payments they can't afford. So if you don't have any of those things, then in reality, you can have an extra 10% to 20% of your income that you have free to be able to pay off the home faster. Now, you know what happens here? If you pay off the home in 15 years, you end up paying about $110,000 in interest. Now, if you actually send over an extra $760 or 10% of my income every single month, I will end up paying about $76,233. That would save me about $41,000 in interest. But not just that, I would also save 5 years of my mortgage, meaning I would pay off the home early only in 10 years instead of 15 years. Now, you know what that means? It means I just saved a bunch of money, because I not only saved a bunch of money on interest, but now my cost of living is also super low. Because now whenever I get paid, I no longer have to pay anyone $2,500 mortgage payments or an extra mortgage payment of $760. That's all money I get to keep for giving to charity or causes I care about, to invest, or for example, just spending it on having some fun and going on vacation with the family or whatever I choose to do. That's the idea. So paying things off can actually save you a lot of money. Now, the last one is what I call downgrade. Downgrade to me is almost like an upgrade, because sometimes you're paying for something and you think, hey, this is the best because it's more expensive. But sometimes you can get, for example, just as good product and not spend that much money. And to me, that's a lot better because it saves me a lot of money. So remember when I told you I would give you some examples when it comes to what if I have insurance? What if I have, for example, my cable bill or have my phone bill? How do I save money on that with the no spend month, okay? The idea is you downgrade these things that you think you need and you don't want to quit on, so you downgrade them. So I know people that pay $110, $150 per month for phone bills, or I used to know these people, or I heard these stories before. And the idea is, that's kind of crazy. I spend on my phone bill, no joke, about $7 a month if I'm not mistaken. But my mom spends about $25 a month, and it's on a limited plan, and she uses it visible, okay? I used to use Mint Mobile, now I use Tello. Those are 3 options right there to save you a bunch of money on your phone bill. Tell me, what about cable? I know people that are obsessed with cable, and in reality, you can save a bunch of money, $60, $80, just by getting, for example, Netflix and paying $10, $20 a month. That's an option. I know folks that basically are obsessed when it comes to a certain insurance company for their car or whatever. You're able to compare and contrast to actually find the best deal possible. That's the idea. So things you're going to keep using, try to find an alternative that's actually more cost effective. So this way you save a bunch of money. Now guys, those are 5 ways to save a bunch of money faster. I hope this video actually helped you. If it did, leave a like. On top of that, subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch more, here's another video. I'll see you next time. Peace.